he did have a gun, and he would like there was some times where he would like point it to my head and stuff just to like scare me. But he would say like, one day I'm gonna put a bullet in your skull, stuff like that. And like,
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. And today we have with us Jenny, right? And she is going to talk about not just abuse or sexual assault, but also how do you deal with it? How do you go beyond that? How do you heal? How do you begin the steps or the process of overcoming? So that's the conversation that we're going to have today. Uh, as what I would also do is I would leave her contact information. It will be going across the screen right about now. And then I'll also put it in the description box as well so that you can go over to her channel and to see the great content and the discussions that she's also having over there. So as I said, today our discussion is going to be about sexual assault, about abuse. That's the basically
yeah.
the topics we're going to discover today. And as usual, don't forget to share this conversation. Don't forget to hit the like button so that other people can come across this great conversation we're going to have. And also don't forget to subscribe as well, as you'll see me have more of these interviews coming your way. So I think I've said enough. I'm going to go ahead and have Jenny just maybe introduce herself a little bit more and then jump into our conversation. Go ahead, Jenny.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you, Dr. Sheldon, for having me. I really love what you're doing with your channel. I think it's so important to shed light on these issues that are going on, and I think it's very great. And so my name is Jenny. I'm 23 years old. I'm from the East Coast, and I am a survivor of domestic violence. Um, it's been a long healing process for me, but I feel like I'm at the place now in my life where I can just give back and help as much as I can, and just help other survivors realize that there's more to life, and like um, basically how to heal yourself and just live your most empowered life. And so that's what my channel is about. My channel is called Empowered After Abuse, and it's mainly just to help survivors and women that have gone through similar situations um, know just how they can take their power back, and also just to spread awareness of this issue and to maybe help prevent it from happening to anyone else. So that's basically what my channel is about.
So let me ask you, how did it begin? How did it first begin? When did you tell yourself, huh, it doesn't feel right, or this is perhaps not supposed to happen? Or when did
Yeah.
those thoughts first start entering your head? What was that like?
Um, so it took me a long time to realize like when I was being abused, because I did meet this person when I was underage. I met him when I was 16. And so I was still pretty like naive on like what a real like loving relationship is supposed to be like, you
And how
know.
old was he?
He was 7 years older than me.
Okay.
So, and I met him at 16. So he was like in his 20s.
Yeah, right.
He's like mid 20s.
Hmm.
So like that alone was kind of like, should have been like a red flag. But to me, it was like, it kind of just seemed natural because of the way we met and stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that was like a red flag in itself. And then on top of that, like it seemed to be very normal. Like during our relationship, it lasted from when I was 16 till right before I turned 21. So it lasted a few years, and um, pretty much through about the second year is when I started seeing some of the major red flags, where I kind of thought like, oh, something might not be right here. Um, it took a long time to kind of like actually realize that that I was being abused. But by then, the state of mind that I was in, it was like I couldn't really process that, or it kind of felt like it was something kind of not normal, but like that was the first relationship that I had ever been in. So I didn't really have anything else to compare it to. And I just thought like it was normal, but some of the first things that I noticed was definitely like red flags, like short temper. He would have a very short temper um, with things that, like as a grown man, you should be able to, um, you know, deal with it. But to
Mm-hmm.
him, it was more um, like it was just, he was like on a level 10 with like any little thing that would bother him. So definitely noticing his temper being very um, out of control. Also, there was like some name calling, like
Uh,
if he would be mad, he would like call me out of my name sometimes. And I took it as like, oh, he's just like um, being like, he's going through something, he's mad
yeah.
about something. So that's just his way of like getting his temper out. But yeah, it was definitely some of that. And then, some name calling, um, little things like slamming doors. And then it just escalated from there to like breaking mirrors.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, just like having emotional outbursts, like crying and like screaming sometimes, like just stuff that, shouldn't be happening
So he
for,
was he was crying at times. He would cry, and
yeah,
when he cried, was he looking for some type of sympathy from you to understand why he was
yeah,
crying?
yeah. So um, he would always like call me, or I was in high school at the time, so I would get like calls from him sometimes of him like saying that he wanted to like kill himself and like so that was like a lot of pressure on me because it's like I'm like this girl in high school and I'm trying to talk this person out of like hurting themselves.
Yeah.
And to me, I felt like, oh, like I'm doing like, well, it's a good thing, like I'm here to like talk to this person, like help him. But I didn't realize um, like the magnitude of really what was going on.
And I've worked with a lot of women who've been in a similar situation, and I've heard about the crying situation before.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those men would use it as a form of control. So
Hmm.
if you're crying, don't go anywhere because I don't feel well right now. Stay here with me. I'm sad.
Right.
And uh, uh, did you experience him at all saying things along the lines that it will never happen again? How?
Yeah. A lot of times, like, I would tell him like, how do you expect me to um like go on with things to know that like you're suicidal or whatever, like, and
Hmm.
then for him to like blame it on me, tell me that it was my fault that he was doing something like that, or like, he would always like find a way to shift it on me to where whatever he was feeling, whatever he was going through at the time, it was somehow my fault
Yeah.
and I had to like make it right in some way. So it was kind of like a mental um, playing with my mental state a lot.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize I was being manipulated like that because I was so
Hmm.
young. And, I thought like at the same time, I didn't have like a lot of friends at the time. And I was very shy. I was very like um, shy when I was in school.
Hmm.
So there wasn't a lot of people that I could talk to about it. And I just felt very like alone. I felt like he was the only person around that actually knew me and that I could talk to. Um, so yeah, it was very hard to deal with all that.
Looking back, do you feel like he ever tried to isolate you from your friends and your family?
I do. Okay, so my parents were never okay with me having like this older boyfriend,
Hmm.
but like he manipulated his way into like my life, into my parents like being okay with us being together. Like he came to my high school graduation. Like he made himself someone that like even my family trusted me to be with.
Hmm.
So it's not like I could come out to them and tell them like what was really going on or like it was just very like uncomfortable to talk about it with them, because at the same time they were very like religious, and they really didn't like, they were so like really strict with me, and like they wanted me to be married, and so like there was like pressure of like, okay, like I have to be with this person or else
Yeah.
like, I'm like shamed, because I was like shamed already
Mm-hmm.
for being in a relationship so young. And
Mm-hmm.
then there was this pressure of like, oh, like you have to marry him now. So um, like if I ever did go through something and I wanted to like talk to them, it felt like there was like a shame behind it, because I didn't want to um, kind of like be looked down upon, like, oh, you're supposed to marry this person, like why is um, and you're having all these issues, like, so it was kind of uncomfortable to come out to them like about anything that was going on. But yeah, it was just very
And,
hard.
and I was thinking that as you were talking, I'm thinking if that dynamic was already playing out where they had certain expectations of you or for you, then it might be difficult for you to open up about some of the things to your
Yeah,
parents, yeah, that was going on. And so that would in itself probably left you feeling isolated.
it did, yeah. And at the same time, like when I would go out to like hang out with my friends, he would get mad. He would find a reason to get mad or act
Mm,
jealous, and it would be my fault. So, like, over time, I just stopped like wanting to hang out with friends. I
mhm.
stopped wanting to even like be at my house. And I eventually, like, I moved in with him in his house. Um, and yeah, it was very isolating. Like, I didn't really have much friends or like anyone to really talk to at that time in my life. So it was very isolating. And I think that had a big part in like him feeling comfortable enough to like do all that and take advantage of me, because he knew that I didn't have anyone else
Mhm.
that I could really confide in.
So when did it get to the point where you just said, when did it get really bad? And then you really had to start thinking about how do I get out of this situation? What was that moment or
Okay.
moments like?
Yeah. So it wasn't like in a split moment. It did take a few months to decide, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like this is a real life or death situation. Like, if I don't leave, like I could end up dead or even worse, hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Because after he assaulted me in my sleep, he punched me in the face in my sleep, and I had to get 7 stitches.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was like a big deal. And right after that happened, I really was in shock. Like I didn't believe that something like that could happen to me from like the person that I trusted to protect me, basically. And the only person that I really had like close to me, I didn't think like that would ever happen. So for the longest time, I was like in a state of like shock, and like I disassociated from like everything.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to bring attention to myself. I kind of just felt like I wanted to like disappear. Like I didn't want to speak about it. I wanted to pretend like it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just wanted it to like go away. Like even though I had like this obvious like mark on my face, and it was like clear something like really bad happened to me, but I played it off like it wasn't anything. I told everyone I knew that I had fell down the stairs. Like I slipped on ice down the stairs. That's what I told them. And like they believed me, because it was like snowing and cold out at
Yeah.
the time. So that's what I told them. And I just really tried to avoid like any conversation that had to do with like my appearance and stuff. And yeah, I kind of like played it off for a long time, but then like things just started getting worse. Like he acted like he was sorry for what
Yeah.
he did,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't. He kept on with the verbal abuse and
Yeah.
the emotional abuse, trying to make me feel like it was my fault for it.
Mm-hmm.
and like I did something to deserve that. But yeah, he just really played it off like that for a long time, and it just started getting really worse. And then there was one day where he had like got access to my bank card,
Yeah.
and he basically took all the money out of my bank account, like that I had worked so hard for and that I was saving. Like, so like that was kind of like, okay, like this person is like really taking advantage of me. Like, and he was like still threatening me, threatening my
Hmm.
life. And so like it just got to the point where I was just very like scared for my life, that I literally wanted to just move, and I knew like I had to move somewhere far. And
So
yeah, or else,
when he was threatening your life, what would he say to you? Like, what are some of the things so that, people who are watching the video could perhaps see, oh, so and so says this to me too. Not that it would always mean the same thing, but crazy is crazy, so
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
um, so he would say things like I'm gonna kill you someday, like I'm gonna make sure that someday you're dead. He did have a gun, and he would like there was some times where he would like point it to my head and stuff just to like scare me, but he would say like one day I'm gonna put a bullet in your skull, stuff like that. And like yeah, he wasn't involved in like good things. He was involving himself in like drugs and like stuff like that. So like he had a gun, and he would always like try to threaten me. um and when he found out I was kind of like um speaking to someone else, like another guy, he
Yeah,
would say like, oh, he's gonna find me someday and he's gonna put a bullet in both of our skulls, like stuff like that, like he would
yeah.
say. And like when he did find out that I moved across the country, he said like, it doesn't matter where you go, like I'm gonna find you someday, and I'm gonna kill you. He would say stuff like that. So yeah.
So how did you leave? Like, how did you walk out of that situation? Like, was he at work? Was he wherever you pack your bag? Like, what was the I'm getting out today? What did that look like?
So like eventually after that situation happened where he punched me, um I like slowly I started moving out of his house. Like I moved my stuff back to my parents' house,
Hmm.
and like he knew that I was like mad at him for that, but he still felt like he had a hold on me. So yeah, I just like would spend a lot more time away from him,
Hmm.
and like because I really didn't feel safe around him. Like um I didn't feel safe around him. I knew that I was like in a bad cycle where for some reason like I was still attached to him, and I kept going back, and I realized like what was happening at that point. And like I knew that it was a thing that survivors of abuse would kind of go back to their abusers because of like just the familiarity of like them, and like just being so vulnerable at the moment. And so I knew like it was a cycle, and it's only going to end with me dead. Like that's just how the cycle goes. So I realized like I just had to like move as far as I could, like away. And so yeah, I just kind of slowly decided that that's just the best thing that um, could be for me, like if I wanted to be alive. And so I didn't really tell my parents or anybody else.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of just did it on my own. Like
Hmm.
I didn't tell him about it. I didn't really tell anybody about it. I just kind of packed up a suitcase and like just went. And then like a few weeks after being like here, I literally went back home like just to visit my parents, and I told them like everything that had happened, and that like I wasn't comfortable living here anymore because he knew where I lived and everything, and the threats that I was getting. And
Hmm.
so yeah, I just kind of decided to move across the country.
Yeah. So how how difficult has it been for you to be able to move on beyond those mental scars, to be able to date again, trust again? What has that process been like for you since you've moved on from that
Yeah.
relationship?
So it's definitely gonna be like a life journey
Mhm,
to heal. But like I feel a lot better than I did like when it happened. Um, I feel like a lot of I've healed a lot of my mental scars. But it definitely took a long time. It didn't happen very quickly. It definitely took years like for me to um heal myself. But a lot of it happened because of number one is my faith. Like I believe in God, I believe in like a higher power, and I believe that He was able to save me and like
mhm.
help me heal myself to where I'm able to like help others. But honestly, it was basically just learning more about self-love, like being able to love myself more. I'm doing a lot of um, inner work, like just every day, like just trying to be a better person and like love myself more and know that like I deserve so much better than being treated that way. And yeah, it's just been like a journey every day, like just to um, deal with it.
So I definitely applaud you for walking away because it's really, believe it or not, it's really difficult for a lot of women to be able to walk away. A quick
Like,
story: I worked with this one lady years ago, counseling, helping her, that sort of stuff, kind of playing the role of a life coach. And after talking and working with this person for over a year, she decided she was going to go back. And
yeah,
that just left me feeling like, well, I guess I didn't do anything. Like,
right,
I didn't make any progress. I didn't.
right,
So I've seen people that have talked to be able to move on, but I've also seen some people go back, and it's, for me personally, it's sad, but it's a decision
yeah,
that I can't make for them. And then her thing was, well, as bad as he was, but he loves me though.
right, mhm,
And I'm thinking to myself, oh, we spent all this
right,
time, but
yeah. And I mean, like, what I have to say to that is like, I know how it is like to be in that situation and like because this person like is so confusing because they're telling you constantly how much they love you and how
yeah.
much you mean to them and like and at the same time like it's like that's the only person that you've ever like really confided in, like they've made you trust them so
Mm,
much to that level where it's like who else am I gonna go back to, who else am I gonna have in my life that actually knows me for me and like that I can actually like be honest with, because usually that person is the one that's like they know you the best, they know you, they try to become your best friend like even in a relationship before they start abusing you,
mhm.
to where it's like you feel like that person is like your other half, to where if you were to just leave, like it would almost be like your whole identity in your life is basically like um leaving you. So it can be very, very hard to leave someone that you're that close to. And a lot of times, unfortunately, women go back and they just keep going back. And I would just say, like, you just have to choose yourself first, because at the end of
Mhm.
the day, like, it doesn't matter how much somebody tells you they love you, it's what their actions show. And if their actions are showing you something completely different and that they don't really love you, you should listen to that and to your instincts instead of just these words that they're telling you. And yeah, I feel like it's very sad that women go back to their abusers, but it does happen a lot. And so I think it's, yeah, women just need to have more self-love and like know that choose yourself first, because at the end of the day, you're just gonna like it's never gonna get better. They can tell you that they're gonna get better, that they're not gonna hurt you anymore. But like after someone shows you who they are and shows you like what they're capable of doing to you, like you should believe them and don't take any more chances because the next chance it could be your life.
You said it perfectly. I think that's the best place to stop because I think you summed it up so great. Just to say, I told a lady one time, if a guy is your prince charming on Monday, and then
Right?
he's your nemesis, whether physically, mentally, verbally, whatever, your nemesis, your enemy on a Tuesday, then that is not love.
No, it's
That
not.
cannot be love. You can't keep that cycle up and
Yeah,
expect to be ever be happy. So
right.
yeah, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to share your story. And as I said, you closed beautifully, and those
Oh, thank you.
words really. I hope that once people able to watch the video and able to appreciate those words for
Yeah,
women and even men who could be in relationships as
right.
well where there's domestic violence and stuff. They able to
Right. Yeah. I
appreciate
feel
those
like
words.
we need to break the stigma of
Yeah.
talking about it, and it just
Hmm.
needs to be talked about more. And, that way people can know the red flags and know like if they're in a situation like this. Because a lot of people they don't realize it. They don't even know that they're in an
Hmm.
abusive relationship. They just think it's like normal.
Yeah, and they think a lot of times I've realized that they think it's normal, especially if it's been generational. So
Right.
mama
So my
saw,
mother
go ahead.
My mother, she told me actually that she was also in an abusive
Mm,
relationship, like before she met my dad. And I was like, wow, that's interesting because it was almost like a cycle. Like,
mm-hmm.
it happened to her and then it happened to me. So I'm like, okay, I need to break the cycle, break the generational
Yep.
curse.
Yeah. And so when we see things, somehow they become normal in
Yes.
our households. And so it's normalized. And so when you go into a relationship now, you're thinking, well, this is normal because this is what my mom put up with or my
Right.
grandma
Mhm.
put up with. So those behaviors, even though they're wrong, they become normalized and then the cycle just continues. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So again, guys, I will leave Jenny's channel link down below. It would also be right here in the description as well on the video, so you can go over and follow her. Hopefully, Jenny and I would have more conversations going ahead in the future. So I'd love to also appear on her channel as well and collab over there also. So don't forget to share the video, share the story. Don't forget to check out her channel. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to leave a like on the video as well. So thank you. And don't go anywhere, Jenny. I'm going to cut these people off here for a second, but
Okay.
we're going to chat on the other side. So thank you again. And I hope you enjoyed the interview. Until the next
Thank you.
time.
Thank you so much.
All right.